Get your greasy little face up next to the radio because it's time for America's favorite radio program, Animal Stories.
Okay, Boomer. Okay, Boomer. Okay, Boomer. Okay, Boomer. Okay, Boomer.
Animal stories. Who doesn't like a good animal story? Especially if it involves blood, amputation, or death. This is part 2 of our Animal Story Contest that pits original broadcasts from the WLS world-renowned animal stories from back in the 70s against our own guests' animal stories. We have 2 guests, Bruce King and Natalia Cooper, both of them experienced in veterinarian medicine, both willing to entertain us with their tales from the workplace. When this episode is published on April 15th, 2025, it'll be Bruce's 64th birthday. Happy, joy to Bruce. Jimmy Ahmuhdoofous has been appointed sole judge of these stories and will be choosing a winner for each round of stories told. In part 1, we had 2 rounds of animal stories. What's the tally so far, Jimmy?
Well, Bruce, our birthday boy, won round 1 with his story about a cow who takes a bullet to the head. The WLS story about a pet parrot being cooked and fed to a grandma won round 2. Natalia is still looking to get on the scoreboard. If you haven't listened to part 1, listeners, you're encouraged to do that so you don't miss any of the gore involved with pythons, flying fatty masses, and more. We've got 4 more rounds scheduled for exciting entertainment coming up. We'll start each round with a WLS story and then alternate who goes first between Natalia and Bruce. Here's round 3, starting with the WLS animal story. Okay, Boomer.
Here's a great story from Newbury Park, California. Guy was pumping gas at his gas station when this car drove in. Man got out with this big German Shepherd, little Tommy. Said his dog was attack trained, and unless the guy handed over the money from the cash register, he was going to order his dog to attack the guy. The guy wasn't afraid, though, little Tommy. He just punched the German Shepherd in the mouth. Punched his German Shepherd right in the mouth, chipped his tooth, and the dog ran away. And the robber got into his car and fled. Kind of beat the attack dog to the draw. I'll bet when that robber got home and his dog came home later. See, the guy just jumped in his car and deserted his dog. His dog had to make it home by himself. I'll bet when he got home, he was really mad at his dog.
And that's the end of our professional animal story.
Professional? Those guys laughed at their story a lot more than I did. They must have been smoking something beforehand.
Well, it was the 70s. Bruce, what do you have for us?
Yeah, I got a great story about a canary. Actually, the story is really about a veterinarian. And the office lady comes in and says, Mrs. Smith is here to pick up her canary. And so, I have to go further in describing this veterinarian. I decided he kind of looks like Lloyd Bridges in the movie Airplane.
Okay.
He's got that gray hair coming down over his eyes a bit. And
bad day to quit heroin.
And that look, exactly. A little bit of sweat. He had glasses. And Lloyd Bridges with maybe an extra 150 pounds, who is a big guy. And I'm going to call him Dr. Newton. And Dr. Newton, that's what Dr. Newton sounded like, because he always had a cigar hanging out of his mouth. And the cigar was always wet and dripping. And he might have smoked it in the morning. And here he is with this cigar hanging out of his mouth. And he goes, okay. He goes, just tell her I'll get it right now. Come on back with me and keep talking. So we're in this exam room. And out comes the canary. And the canary has got a a bandage around his leg. And so, I'm not calling him Dr. Newton because I can't use his real name, Dr. Newton. He gets out and he gets the scissors out. And, this man, his fingers were like sausages. And they did not fit in a pair of scissors. You could just his fingernails would fit in the scissors. You know kind of where this is going. But the funny part is, we're talking and he's getting that canary and got this broken or injured leg, and I'm looking down at the stainless steel exam table, and all of a sudden, all I see is a little canary leg flipping up, and I'm not believing my eyes, and I'm looking, and so he's certainly in disbelief, and he's got his little cigar sticking out of there, and it's dripping down his chin a little bit, and he looks over his bifocals at me, and he says, "Sometimes they heal, sometimes they don't."
sometimes you remove the bandage clearly, and sometimes you don't. Oh my gosh!
Sometimes they heal, and sometimes they don't.
All right.
Exactly what he said.
Doctor.
That was funny, but apparently not to the lady. But I don't know that's part of the story. But
very nice, very nice. Okay, the big-fingered vet, wonderful. Natalia, you've got something that involves the word, am I pronouncing it right? Enucleation?
Yep, enucleation.
Tell us what the heck enucleation is.
It's the removal of an eyeball, usually from like damage, could be like from an ulcer or like a scratched cornea, and leads to infection. Basically, like just removing the eye is enucleation, which is,
gotta be fun.
Hey, it's not a real party unless someone gets an enucleation.
Yeah, being in this field, like you should have a really strong stomach, not be too squeamish. And I think like another thing like I wanted to like just jump right into is that like this field is really hard, especially on like veterinarians. It's actually growing larger and more increased with suicide rates with veterinarians.
Really?
It is just unfortunate that like throughout the years, I think the numbers are increasing. It's just like a high, like, it's a high pressure job. There's a lot of deaths. You have to deal with your patients, stressful working conditions. You have just disgruntled clients. Like it's just not the field for everyone to be in.
And sometimes they heal and sometimes they don't.
Exactly. So unfortunately, you're always just like, I think especially with me, and I have a sense of humor, and that's probably why like I've always gotten along with your older daughters, that like we have a sense of humor, and we're always looking to like lighten the mood. And I think that's what I bring to this job, is just always looking to find like a little bit maybe more of a fun outlook on it. So in this case, finding out what people's like just kind of like things that creep them out, like I'm just always looking to like try and, just mess with them, find out their weaknesses. And in this case, I thought about pranking my boss, which maybe was I looking to get fired that day? I don't know. We never know. So I was testing the limits. I knew that she was completely creeped out with eyeballs, whether they're proptosis, which means that they're like pretty much outside of the like the bone structure of the eye, like it's practically falling out, but it's not completely removed. So you got proptosis eyeballs, and then enucleation when you remove it fully. I decided to take that eyeball from the doctor. She thought I was going to basically throw it in the discard bin. I dried it off, got enough Scotch tape that would stick to it, and I connected it to the cabinet of where my boss sits. And she usually reaches up above for basically like, just any like packaging tape if she has to take it to like UPS, blah, blah, blah. So I taped this eyeball in the cabinet, and I like left the eyeball like sit on the ledge, and I taped the trail of the eye, like I taped it to the cabinet. So she opened the cabinet when I asked like, hey, could you grab me some like packaging tape? She opened the eyeball, and she was sitting at her desk looking up, grabbing the cabinet door. It swung open, and this thing like flopped down. And she immediately, like it was like one of those roller chairs. She scooched back, started screaming, and then I was like, "Oh gosh, this is it. This is the end of my job." And then she started laughing because I knew she had a good sense of humor, but I think like I really was like, "Is this the day that I get fired?" I
Oh,
don't know what,
God.
So that's why I was basically just trying to keep a little humor in the office, but I really like that was a day where I didn't know if I was gonna make it home or not with still being employed.
Ay, 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 ay. Flying eyeballs coming in. Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking that maybe, that's how you prevent suicide. You have eyeballs flung at you once in a while. It keeps things
Exactly.
light.
Yeah.
Keep things light.
Jimmy, what moved you more? The German Shepherd being punched, the unintended amputation, or the enucleation?
Well, as much as I enjoyed Bruce's impersonation of Dr. Newton, Natalia had real eyeballs used as a practical joke. Natalia's the winner here.
That brings us to a three-way tie between WLS, Bruce, and Natalia. I can't wait to see what round 4 brings us.
Okay, Boomer.
It turns out there may be a little panda on the way at the Tokyo Zoo after all, little Tommy. That's Can and Lang Lang over there.
Yeah.
Lan is the female, and they think she might be pregnant. See, they mated last year, and Lan was pregnant but had a miscarriage in the final weeks of her pregnancy, as you'll recall. But according to zoo officials in Tokyo, they mated recently on a balmy spring morning.
Oh.
In fact, it was so great, I guess they mated twice. What better way to spend a balmy spring morning? Sure beats breakfast.
Uncle Larry, isn't one of those is just in love with a tire, right?
Well,
the
that's
boy Panday.
That's what they said last week, but evidently he got tired of the tire and decided to try something a little more exciting. So.
Well, that's Uncle Lair and little snot-nosed Tommy. Natalia, you have a story about a coot. Now, I've been called a coot before, an old coot, but your coot is not that same type. Tell us about your coot.
So a coot is a just like kind of like a mid-size, just like prehistoric, like little water. It's a mid-sized water bird, but they have very like prehistoric type feet. And so again, bringing humor back into the office, this is definitely something that I do throughout the years. I have some good ones, and sometimes I don't. But this is one that I'm pretty proud of. I do think that, like, even leading up to this, that, like, I've lost friends pranking them in all the years I've been through, like, veterinary medicine. Like, I put a little tiny mass in someone's pocket, and they ended up leaving for the day because they're like, "You ruined my jacket. There's a spot of blood. I can't wear this again." And I'm thinking, like, we get nasty stuff all over our scrubs every day. I don't know why you're crying about this.
Lighten
And then I
up.
ended up becoming closer with one of my other friends because I put a dog tail in her purse, and she found it, like, later on at home, and she was dying laughing. So, like, you just kind of have to pick who you're going to mess around with. And I think I've learned that later on in life, maybe a little bit too late.
You never know how a stray body part's going to affect somebody.
Yes, exactly. You just never know who's going to, receive that with like a positive, like,
I think it's
just
time for the
reaction.
authorities to look in that freezer in your garage.
She's got
Exactly.
a whole array of body parts that she whips out.
I have them all organized,
Labeled.
too.
Oh my God.
That's how serial killers describe their early beginnings.
Oh.
Bruce, I don't want to like admit this, but there's like literally 6 freezers in my garage, but it's because we sell beef and pork. But now people are gonna really listen to this podcast and wonder what's really in there.
You haven't reached into that freezer for like
When you said that your parents lived in your basement.
It's getting
Or
creepier.
do they? I mean, maybe they're in the freezers
It's
at this
getting
point.
creepier. It's getting creepier. Did
I'm so sorry.
you ever reach into the freezer for like what you thought was going to be a pound of hamburger, and you fried up some coot claws instead?
I wanted hamburger, not grandma.
There you go.
I'll find this picture too, but so back to the horror stories that I decided to prank one of my good friends at the time, and we worked with at the time, and we still do actually. We work with a wildlife rehab, so I have seen everything in my day from like I've set catheters on like deer, and we've had owls, eagles. I've even like have a picture of me holding a pelican, which I guess I'm so naive. I didn't realize that they migrate up north only to come back down south. So like I literally like we had a pelican come into the vet clinic in Wisconsin. I'm like, I just think it's crazy some of the things I've seen, but we've seen everything. So we have this coot come in, needs a toe amputation, which is removal of a toe. And I'm thinking, like, I'm not going to put this beautiful little gem in the trash.
Of course
This
not.
needs to go to someone. It's got to go to someone. So I pick my good friend and I'm like, I'm going to tie some very long string to this and I'm going to put it in her car in the rearview mirror. So thankfully she didn't lock her vehicle, went in there, tied it. And it's so long, like it's almost scraping like the dashboard. Like it was very obvious. She thankfully went on lunch break that day and she's like, oh, I got to do a few errands. I'll be back probably in an hour. I got to go to the bank. I got to go pick up lunch and I have to hit the gas station. I'm like, this is going to be epic. I will sit by my phone. She's going to either text me or call me. And I sat for like just a little bit waiting. Nothing came about it. I'm like, this is wild. I can't believe she didn't notice this. She comes back to the vet clinic, walks in, and she's like, oh, hey. And I'm chatting. I'm like, how was your lunch break? Oh, she was like, oh, it's fine. You know, like I got all my things done. And I'm like, nothing else exciting happened. She's like, no, why? And I'm like, I have to take you to your vehicle. I walked her all the way back out to the vehicle. She opens the door and I'm like, how did you not see this thing? It's a few inches long on top of the string, which is probably like 8 inches. Like, how did you not see this? If you took the corner right, it would be swinging like a pendulum and smack you in the face. She's like, I have no idea how I did not like see this. She's like, I feel like so like just unattentive. And I'm like, you know what though? But this was it was totally worth it. It was the perfect prank.
She didn't give a hoot about your coot. Love it. Good stuff. Yeah, more animal parts in various places. Bruce, you had a vet in an unusual place, I think, getting caught in underwear. Is that right?
A pelican and a coot walk into a bar in Milwaukee. I don't remember the rest of that joke, but yeah. So this is a story about a veterinarian of mine, a friend of mine who is a veterinarian, and so this is his story. But it's so this veterinarian, he's a young new vet. He's out in Nebraska, warm summer day, and during the days it was very hot, and the clinic was super busy, and this big customer, this big swine customer, needed these gilts tested because he needed to move them to another farm. Like in another state or whatever. So it was kind of urgent that this got done. There's no room in the schedule. So Doc gets up in the morning, decides to go out there first thing in the morning to this farm, get blood from these 30 gilts, get it done more, send it into the lab, and then he can go on about the rest of his day, get it out of the way. And the other bonus would be, it'd be nice and cool in the morning while he was doing that, and it would be better for the animals and better for him and so on. Well, these large farms are biosecure. So you have to take a shower before you go in the actual farm. And the way that happened was there was an office with, a men's side and a women's side and showers. And you would leave your clothing and, all of your clothing on one side. You'd shower and you'd step out into the other side, and there would be several, a variety of sizes of underwear and coveralls and boots and T-shirts and whatever. Well, that day, Doc goes through the shower, and there's nothing there, and everything is in the laundry from the night before. He was there real early in the morning, and he wasn't gonna do the laundry, put it in the dryer and everything. So, on the quote clean side, you've got underwear and socks and coveralls. Well, there was underwear. So, and the underwear, what kind do you think it was, Boomer?
How about
thong.
some pink thong?
The tidy whities. Tidy whities.
So,
You know? Hanes, tidy whities. Cotton, white, tidy whities. And so here he is. He's like, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. These guys don't get here till 8 and or 7 or whenever. And so I'm just going to go ahead and get this done because I'm not going to drive out here and mess up my schedule, and it's not going to take me that long anyway. So here's this vet going down with his tidy whities and his boots, walking in the breeding area where these gilts are, and to get blood, you typically run them in a crate or whatever, and so. And the way they got blood that way was they'd put them in a crate and tie their nose or restrict their head somehow, and they would nick a little vein in their tail, and then you would take a test tube and you'd collect the blood from that little nick in their tail and go on to the next one. Well, that's messy and you get blood on you. So, it's a nice warm day and the curtains are down. If you're outside the building and you can see inside. And guess, what else happens that early part of the morning? Feed delivery.
Mm-hmm.
So here comes the feed truck, and the guy in the feed truck, notices something weird in the gill area. And he walks over and here's Doc, tidy whities and boots. He's got blood all over his tidy whities, and he's got 2 or 3 gilts tied up. He's standing behind him, and the feed guy says, "Oh, Doc," he goes, "don't let me interrupt. I'm just going to go about my day." And that was it. And that was it. And there was never another meeting, but I'm sure that story got circulated throughout that little Nebraska town about the new vet and his tidy whities, his bloody tidy whities behind him.
Tidy whities and cowboy boots. It sounds like a Playgirl centerfold. Oh, my Lord. Amazing. Yeah. That would be an eye-opening scene. And the blood thrown in there for effect, real nice. Okay, well, hey, it's decision time for our judge. Mr. Ahmuhdoofous, who's our winner? Is it WLS with Panda Love, Bruce with Tidy Whities, or Natalia with the Rear View Coot?
I'm going with the dismembered coot car ornament. I like that Natalia was sticking with the amputation theme.
That puts Natalia up by 1 here at the end of round 4.
Hey, let's take this opportunity right here to hear from our sponsors, okay? Brief message coming up.
Around P-Town, it's got the news that you can use. Around P-Town. AroundPtown.com, it's got the scoop with all the poop.
Ben's Barbershop, it's a place I like to stop. Whether it's to get a fancy do or just buzz off my mop, Ben's Barbershop. It's a place I like a lot, and you'd like it too if you did your do at Ben's Barbershop. That's Ben's Barbershop in Morrison, Illinois. Look 'em up on Facebook. Make an appointment. Tell 'em Jimmy Ahmuhdoofous sent you.
Here's round 5.
Guy from Ocean City, Maryland, was out surfing. He was paddling his surfboard out there, looking for the big wave. He's going to hang 10. Looked over to the side there, and there's this great, big, huge shark.
Ooh, wow.
He turned that surfboard
I bet he
around.
didn't hang. He didn't hang one, did he?
It was a nightmare for him, little Tommy.
Sounds like it.
Just about wet his pants. He turned that surfboard around real fast, paddled as fast as he could, ran up on the beach. Then he discovered the shark was dead. It was just floating there.
Belly up?
Yeah, but he said it was still scary.
Bruce, you've got a story about a vet pulling a calf. This is round 5. You're up.
Well, this was another with a vet. Only I was the head of sales for this company. I was riding with another rep in central southern Missouri. So this is out in the sticks, right? So, but we're going out there, and the vet goes out to pull a calf, and it's kind of a little tiny little dairy farm, and the vet goes out to pull a calf, pulls the calf, and the it's this dirty old barn and everything. We walk out there, and there's cats, like an ocean of cats, like they were a nuisance for you to walk around in this sea of cats rubbing at your legs. It was just crazy, and we're in this barn, probably where they were all fed and everything, and so the vet warns us before we go out there. He goes, well, you guys come out, but you know what? This guy's a hothead. He's got explosive anger. So, just be cool and don't make any sudden movements and don't flash any shiny objects, and we should all survive. And so we go out there and he pulls the cap, and there's these cats all over cats. And the farmer says, Doc, he says, as long as you're here, he goes, can you just take care of those damn cats? And so in our mind, take care of those damn cats. They're a vector for disease transmission and this and that. So the vet begins, taking care of these cats. And so there's a pile of 20 cats or whatever. And, if you haven't figured it out, the vet is euthanizing these cats. And the farmer comes like, Doc, you're fast. He goes, how long before they wake up?
Oh no!
And the vet looks up at us, and he goes, "He's on back to the truck." that was a story that we like to tell.
Oh my God! How long of an awkward silence was there after he asked that question?
We're all thinking, oh my. Well, he euthanized there's a pile of dead cats.
Oh,
nothing funnier.
Lord.
Okay, Jimmy, what can be funnier than a pile of dead cats? So it's a pile of dead cats.
Better than a barrel of monkeys.
Take care of these docs.
Lord.
Take care of these damn cats.
Oh,
he wanted them spayed or neutered, and but if you're going to take care of somebody, make sure that you're clear on what you really need. Right?
Classic.
Yeah, the verbiage there was very unclear.
Classic example
How long before they wake up, Doc?
Classic example.
It'll be an hour. Let me just leave, and then they'll be up in a little bit.
Yeah. They're getting, one of them's got his eye open. Let's ease on.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
They'll be up before you know it. Oh my God.
Oh, that's wild, Bruce.
Classic example of never assume, right? Wow.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man, but you've got a cop. Talk about assuming, though. You've got some of that element in your story here about a cop grabbing some horns. Give us that one, Natalia.
So this is like one of those like perfect bar stories to tell, just it could be with anyone. It's just like, this is gonna lighten the mood, but it's the best bar story because it actually happened. It started at a bar. We were at the local watering hole, and it was like karaoke night. Like I don't want to say like we were like drinking and we were like pretty much like overserved. Like we just had enough, and we were gonna make it home safely. But we got a text from our cousin who's a deputy. He's a Warworth County deputy sheriff, and he had like that Motorola Razor back then, so it like took forever to like type a message, like go like 222 to get to like the number C. Like he's like typing out everything to my husband, and he's like, hey, like your bison's out again. And Kevin's like, oh shit, like it's 1 a.m. We've all of our friends surrounding us, like we'll just tell them like, hey, we gotta go, right? So we tell all of our friends, like, hey, guys, unfortunately, this is the situation. Cops are on our property. There's people, like, stopped in the middle of the road. The bison, which is our 1-ton bull with 3 female cows, like beef cows, were in the middle of the road. And so we're like, we got to go. Thinking that we were going to, like, leave, just, like, sneak out and say goodbye to everyone was just completely, like, that was just foolish on our end. So everyone in that bar closed their tabs, followed us about 12 minutes from the bar all the way to our property. We had like a train of just like shitbox trucks, trucks and just young people just getting in their vehicle, following us, like some that we didn't even know of. Get to the property.
Wait a minute, some you didn't
And
even know? I'm going to go, I don't want to miss this
we
farm
did not know
crisis.
some of these people.
Oh, my Lord.
We did not know them. So we're getting to the property. And Kevin was like, because we didn't live on site where the cattle were. We lived about 0.2 miles around the corner. Kevin's like, hey, I'm going to the property with the cattle where they're at in the middle of the road. I'm going to talk with the police officers and my cousin. You go to our house around the corner and grab, which we had a minibus at the time. That's for like another story. But he's like, go grab the minibus. It's big enough to block the road. Go get that and meet me back here. So I get in the minibus. I drive all the way back and I managed to block them where they're actually across the road right now at our neighbor's property. Mike which is our cousin, he's hiding behind a tree and he's like, it's like 3 foot wide. Like, it's not going to protect him by any means. Like, this bison will run through him if he needs to. And he calls him like our murdering bison at the time. Because he's so aggressive. To get into a pen, if you have to like throw feed or anything, like if you can't like launch it over the fence, you literally have to strike him with like a 2x4 just to get him to back up. Like, he's just all testosterone, like super aggressive.
Nice.
So
Klingon.
he is behind, like I said, like a 3 foot wide tree. His partner Wayne is like, we need to get this guy across the road. Like, no big deal. I'm going to go up and I'm going to grab him by the horn and show him how it is. Like, super cocky. He goes and grabs this 1-ton animal and grabs him by the horn.
Oh, man.
And I cannot tell you, I have seen this animal, like we had him for years until he finally passed away. But I mean, this animal had no patience for human interaction whatsoever. So when Wayne grabbed his horn, I guess he just kind of like it was cold out. He just kind of like snuffed out a bunch of air and he's like, what is this? And he shook his like horn, like his head, got his hand off of him and just started chasing his little ladies, and not a big deal. I don't know why he didn't throw him, why he didn't break an arm, why he didn't like get impaled. Like, I'm still like mystified by this shit. But I end up coming around the corner with the minibus, and they managed to like chase the bison and the 3 cows like across the road. And I'm going down like our long driveway at this point, and someone with a vehicle coming from like the east side like ended up like shooting them like across the road. So like basically like I'm parallel now with the minibus, and I am driving them down this driveway where like I'm like literally like holding onto the steering wheel looking to my right, and I'm looking this motherfucker in the eye. Like, it was like, here it is, like this is it. He's either gonna like mess up the bus or he's gonna like run something down, because it is just like we're head for head right now trying to get him into the property, into the pen. And by the end of the like where the end of the road stopped, I got out of the bus. And we're all like, what do we do now? And we're all like, let's hide behind hay bales because we're smart people. And so this Wayne guy, like, I think he comes up again thinking that he's going to do something. And we're just like, dude, like, get under something, hide behind something. It is not going to go well. So we ended up like taking some like large, like 2x4s that we had on hand. We ended up like smacking them together. And then the female cows ran into the pen. The male bison followed, and we were able to lock it safely. And again, like, just shocked that no one died that night. I really, really am.
A bunch of drunk, half-lit people, drunk on their butt, chasing a monster bison back in the canal. You're lucky you had those females to entice them.
Yeah, exactly. We were very fortunate.
Oh, jeez, what a night. What a night. Well, there's a clear winner here with a dead pile of cats.
Okay, Judge Jimmy. That puts Bruce and Natalia in a dead tie. 2 wins apiece, along with 1 point for WLS. Oh, the drama, the tension, the competition as we head into our final round. More fun than a barrel of monkeys.
Or a dead pile of cats.
Here's round 6, starting with Uncle Lair and Little Tommy.
Okay, Boomer.
This is one of those stories that sounds too good to be true, but it is a true story. The setting is a dog show in Ohio.
Uh-huh.
The cast of characters, a woman and her 180-pound Great Dane, Topper.
Yeah?
Yeah. And the plot is the woman needs to go to the bathroom real bad. Okay. The scene opens. I'm just reading this the way it's written in the paper here. The scene opens with the woman heading toward a portable toilet located near the show arena. But one problem is that she can't find anybody to hang on to her Great Dane while she uses the facilities. And she's got to go real bad, and she doesn't have time to mess around.
What's one of those Johnny on the job things?
Yeah. So she does the only logical thing. She decides to hold the Great Dane on the leash with her inside the outhouse while her faithful companion Topper stands guard outside. So she secures the leash by running an arm through the loop end and, has it crooked in her elbow,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
She enters the toilet and closes the door. She's inside, the dog's outside. And all things are going according to plan momentarily. It is then that fate takes a nasty turn. A man in the portable toilet next to hers decides to leave, and as he does, he slams the door behind him, and it just sounds like a gunshot. This scares the dog. Says Topper bolts from his guard post, yanking his 100-pound mistress from the toilet seat. The toilet shakes, and suddenly the door bursts open, and with Topper straining frantically at the leash, his owner is bodily dragged across the ground. The woman is equally frantic. She has a huge dog. See, this dog weighed 180 pounds.
Yeah?
She has a huge dog tugging the leash in one hand, a roll of toilet paper in her other hand. Portions of her clothing are out of place. She is on her hands and knees, ordering, begging for Topper to halt. Says passerbys caught up in this bizarre spectacle are no help at all because they can't stop laughing. Says the stampede finally ends several yards from the portable toilet. And then it says the woman retained her composure very well. She was very calm and held the leash in her mouth while she put her clothes back on. And all these people are staring at her. And then she returns to the portable toilet again and goes inside to put herself back together. But geez, is that embarrassment or what? I mean, her dress is up and her pants are down around her ankles. And here's this Great Dane dog dragging her through the dust.
Another Sheltie story. Is it the same Sheltie that loses her tip?
It is the same family dog that has, you'll totally understand why she peed on the mail. I mean, it's going to make sense at the end of this story, but it is the same Sheltie. Yeah. So
Does this Sheltie have a name?
Yeah, it's our Liebchen. Yep.
It's what?
Liebchen. It's actually German.
Of course it is.
It's like pretty much like saying like kind of like darling, like my darling in German.
All right, we wanted to personalize this so we get the full effect here. Go ahead with Liebchen.
Yes, that sounds great. So Shelties, they are, like I was explaining, like they're kind of like a smaller size of a collie. They're very like. They can come in multiple colors, but ours was all black. And kind of a trademark for this breed is they have this beautiful white tip at the end of their tail. Okay, so my sister and I, we were about 4 and 6 at the time. My mom had just started getting into like the grooming industry. So we were very much like intrigued by that, like almost idolizing our mom. Like, you kind of want to do what your mom or your dad does for a living. So anything we could get our hands on, mostly stuffed animals, we were shaving, trimming, basically just destroying these stuffed animals, just to show like our mom, like, hey, you got home from a hard day's work. Look what we did. And it's probably not making her day any easier because she had to clean up after us. But, we wanted to show what we were capable of, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we would dress this dog up in clothing. We would put like cute bows, like hairstyles on her, anything we could do. So At one point, we thought we should like decorate her beautiful like little white tail, right? So we put like hair ties on to attach this beautiful bow, and show my mom at the end of the day, and it went great. It was super cute. Until the point where, we kind of forgot about those hair ties. The bow eventually fell off, but because she's a Sheltie, if you guys are familiar, like they have just very fluffy tails. Like you're not going to be able to see these hair ties once they're like twisted and around and around and around. You're not going to see them.
Around and
So my
around and
brother
around.
being yeah, around and around and around we go. So my brother's about 9 years old at the time. He's just relaxing on the couch, like finally just, able to just sit and just kind of take in, just an easygoing afternoon. Looked at my dog in the living room and he kind of just like, just kind of patted the side of the couch, like, hey, come here, Liebchen. And she looks at him in just excitement. And, she's like, oh, and she just starts approaching him from across the room. And as she does so, she gets up, half the tail falls off. I would probably say the entire white tip is gone at this point, completely in the center of the room. And she just goes directly towards him. It's almost like just halfway. And what my brother likes to say is his flappers were gasted because he didn't know as a 9-year-old what just happened. Where's the rest of her tail? He doesn't understand.
Oh my
Um,
God.
the dog almost had like this Eeyore reaction, like, oh well, like it was about to happen. Like she was just like, finally, like this thing fell off. And he likes to say like the only thing that was actually keeping the tail, which the bone was already obviously gone, like it was completely like the blood circulation was cut off. The only thing that was keeping this tail attached was the other half of the tail's hair that was just completely like engrossed with like crust and blood, and it was just like the hair was like merging with the other part of the tail that was like trying to fall off. um
Disgusting.
yeah,
So,
so and my brother like panicked because like he's like, I am the last person to see this dog with a full tail in this house. Like I need to find someone. So he runs and screams like, Mom, like, what happened? He didn't know quite what to do, but at that point, I mean, like, can you blame my dog for peeing on the mail? I mean, she's gone through a lot.
it's the least she could have done.
Exactly.
Uh, uh, Natalia, let me sure I understand this clearly. You were in an attempt to beautify this little innocent Lipschen, Sheltie named Lipschen, an attempt to beautify it and make it look glamorous. You mutilated it. You mutilated the dog.
100%. And I have a lot of guilt.
God, it explains a lot about you. Oh my.
It does. It really does. I know. It's not like a bar story like I would tell about the bison. It's just that's something I keep like deep down dark inside me, and I just share it for a podcast for lots of people to listen to.
Hey, did this require therapy for your brother?
No, thankfully, no. Not not yet.
So you don't think he was permanently scarred with that? Oh my gosh.
No, not after everything else we've been through kids. I think that was just like a icing on the cake.
I bet if you ever tried to dress him up, he said, "No, I saw what happened to the Lipschen."
Yeah, hard pass. It's a hard pass.
Oh, that poor dog. And that dog
The
is passed.
pelican and the cooter still okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did the tip end up in somebody's pocket?
I wish we would have kept that. We should have kept that.
Oh,
It was a little family heirloom you pass from like down from one generation to another.
yes.
I've seen it hanging from a mirror in the 90s, I'm sure.
Yes. Oh, Bruce, you've got a story that I've entitled "Dirty Bitch, Help Me Out."
Good friend of mine. So he goes into this farm calls on a pig farm, Nebraska in the 90s, small farm. And this old farmer and his wife, and pretty simple. And the facilities are kind of bad. And they've got a gilt, which is a first time mother pig having its first ever litter of pigs. But gilts are very muscular and they have a small birth canal. And so it's a winter. Husband and wife have the vet out, go in this farrowing house that's warmer, but still colder than it should have been. And in order to assist birth, a pig having birth is, guess what? The vet is going to put a rubber glove on and go up the birth canal and pull out pigs because the mom hasn't got enough strength to push each pig one at a time down the birth canal. And so the vet is reaching in there, and this birth canal is really tight. He's really got to shove his hand up there, and it's, and it's slippery. You got a rubber glove on, and these pigs are coated with placenta and afterbirth and all this slippery stuff. And so these pigs keep slipping out. These pigs keep slipping out of this veterinarian's hands. And he's there for a long time, and he's pulling. And this gilt has a high number of pigs. Usually a gilt like that would have 8 or 10 or 12 at the time, but he's on like number 15, and his hand is so tired and he's hurt. The gilt's worn out, and it's getting cold in there. And he gets this last pig to the edge, and it slips back in, and it slips back in. And the third time, the doc is saying to the gilt, he says, "Come on, you dirty bitch, help me out a little bit, will you?" And at that point, the wife reaches down with a pair of pliers, grabs that pig's leg, and yanks it out. And Doc is there a little bewildered, like, "Oh my God." And the husband says, "Well, don't worry, Doc. Sometimes I gotta talk like that to get anything done around here."
My God, that is classic. Dirty bitch, help me out. Oh, Lord. She jumps in with a pair of pliers to help out.
Reach right in there with just jumped right in action.
I love it. He could have been done 20 minutes earlier if he'd used that line earlier.
Don't worry, Doc. I got to talk like that sometimes.
Ah, that is good stuff. Good stuff. Jimmy, with things all tied up between Natalia and Bruce, you've got a big decision between Uncle Lair's story of the Great Dane who depantsed his owner, a tight birth canal, or the loss of a dog's tail.
Well, these are all worthy stories. I am, however, obliged to choose a winner, and do so with the WLS story of partial nudity and public embarrassment.
Well, that leaves us with a tie and no clear victor, which means we can't award the grand prize, which was a free weekend stay over at Jimmy's cabin down on the river.
Yep, that's a shame. Okay, Boomer.
I want to thank Bruce, you and Natalia for spending so much time with me sharing those stories. They were fun to hear. A little disgusting at times. I think I may have to shower here in a little bit to cleanse myself of some of the details that are floating around my head, but I'm very appreciative of you taking the time to share those with us.
I enjoyed it. It was a good time. Nice meeting you, Natalia, and good talking to you again, Tom.
You bet.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I appreciate all the stories coming from you too. It's nice to talk with someone else in the same field, and even just on like different time frames. It's interesting to see how things were done, and how they're moving forward. It's just things change. So
yeah, they do.
And Tom, I'm ready for summer, and you talk about animal stories. I went kayaking last summer with Boomer here, and we got in the Hennepin Canal, and I borrowed his kayak. And we were kayaking, maybe 100 yards down the Hennepin Canal, and up my leg is a snake crawling out of that kayak that I borrowed from Boomer. And I'm almost certain at this point he planted
put it in there. Yeah.
That's the animal story. What do you think of that, Jimmy?
I heard Boomer tell about it. It's a true story. I know where he keeps his kayaks. It was not in a good spot. And what was amazing, though, Bruce, you being a farm boy, you kept your composure, got that snake on the kayak paddle, and flipped it right into the canal like it was no big deal. Well done. Yeah, that was Bruce's his virgin kayak trip, Natalia, and he gets a snake in the kayak. Yeah, lots of good times. That provided a little bit of excitement there for us on the Hennepin. All right, you guys have a wonderful day, and thanks again for sharing.
Yep.
All righty, bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Shut up. And kids, don't forget to be checking in with AroundPtown.com. It's got all the news that you can use. Stay hip, stay classy with AroundPtown.com. And for you fellas that want that hip and classy look, well, then you're going to want to get your butt to Ben's Barbershop chair. That's right, Ben's Barbershop. Look him up on Facebook.com. He's in Morrison. You make an appointment, you're going to love it. If you've enjoyed listening to Boomer here, he'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to his podcast so you'd get notifications of when the next episode's coming up. Maybe leave a rating on a review. But yeah, go ahead and subscribe. That helps the podcast grow, and that makes the little fella feel so much better. And if you have any feedback for him, go ahead and contact him at ttaudioworks@gmail.com. Again, that's ttaudioworks@gmail.com. Okay, I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.